Okay, okay, good day everyone. We are here again, and what I want to do today is to explain some of the new development you are going to be finding in your plants. And I'll try to explain it to you so that you also know what exactly you're expected to do when you start seeing these things playing out. Okay, right now we are on the project, and what we are doing is pepper, cucumber, and tomatoes. And so far, I know that by now you would have started seeing some things in your cucumber that you don't really understand what they are. And for your tomatoes, with time, it's going to also come up to that stage. Then the same thing with your pepper. So, what we want to talk about today is pollination. Pollination is the process of food formation for your plants. Once you are doing a fruity vegetable, there is always a fruit development. And before fruit develops, there has to be what we call pollination. Pollination is a process by which the pollen grain or the cell or the male cell drops on the female stigma so that it can begin to pollinate, and that we can begin to form a fruit. Without it, a fruit will not be formed. So what happens in this process, that the first thing that happens is that a flower is brought out. Once you start seeing those flowers, then they'll know that this is now ready to be pollinated. Once you start seeing the flowers, and once that flower start coming out, what next thing that will happen is they will get to a stage when they are ready to be pollinated. And once this gets ready to be pollinated and pollination happens at that time, then you are very sure that fruit will be formed in that particular bud. So what I'm going to be showing you today is how this happens in cucumber, how it happens in tomatoes, and how it also happens in pepper. So now let's go to cucumber, because I know that is the one you are going to be seeing more often. Also, you need to also know that we have self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination, there are plants that self-pollinate. That means the male and the female, and the female, the anther and the petals, or the pistil of the female and the anthers of the male, they are all together in one bud. That is what we call, with that, they can actually self-pollinate, but there are some that cannot self-pollinate. You have to do what we call cross-pollination. And that is what we are going to be learning now. For cucumber, what we do for cucumber is what we call cross-pollination, because the female flower is on its own, the male flower is on its own. So now, for example, if you look at this is a male flower. And how you know that, if you look by under of it, you see that this is very, very lean. For a female flower, from this under is always swollen. Let's look at this one now. Look at this. If you look at this is a female flower. The under part is swollen. That shows it's a female flower. So now, if for this male flower, the pollen that has to get to the pistil of, or the stigma of the female is here. Now, if I take away this petal out, if I take away this petal, I can be able to have access to it. So if I open it up, I can go and manually, if this is open, let me see if I can find a female pollen that is open. Okay, okay, let me do that on this. So if I do that, I can come closely and take it and rub this pollen inside the pistil of the female, or the stigma of the female flower. Now, what will happen is this: once you pollinate, the leaf will start drying up, like what you are seeing here. The leaf will start drying up. You can see this is drying up, and once you drying up, this fruit will start getting bigger. But if it did not pollinate, what will happen is this: the leaf will still dry up, but the fruit itself will start shrinking, and it will shrink and fall off. So that is what happens at the end of the day. So it is cross-pollinated, and you mustn't do it the way I just did it. You mustn't hand pollinate like I did. We have flies. Once these yellow flowers always attract butterflies, attract bees that can be able to do the same thing for you. But why sometimes we want to hand pollinate is this: you did not give the bees or flowers a contract. They are just here to also express and enjoy nature like they used to do. So they may have an oversight and make mistake, or not even mistake, and they may not even attend to your female flower. So for you to be very sure that this happened, you can just do hand pollination like I just did. But it is not a must. Even if you don't do it, these bees will do that for you. Okay, now let's come to tomatoes. Now look at our tomatoes. If you look at our tomatoes, This is the bud, and you can see the flowers. Now, but the thing there is this: for these tomatoes, the male and female system all are together in this one flower. And if you look at this now, this particular one is ready for pollination. You can see the way it's wide open to receive pollen from the male flower. So if I want to do this, what happens is this: this will drop on the pistil of the female, and before you know it, this pollination will happen. And once it happens, it will start drying up. And once it dries up, it will fall off. Let me show you an example of the one that have dried up. Look here, look here. You can see these are dried up, and now I can actually take it out. And if you look inside, you are going to see a fruit coming out from there. This is how pollination happens. So for you to play safe, especially when you know that the whole entire place is not windy, what you need to do is, when the temperature, because pollination is difficult to happen in extreme temperature. Pollination is difficult to happen in extreme temperature, in the sense that when the temperature is too cool, they don't really pollinate, and when the temperature is too hot, they don't really pollinate. You understand? So, but what we do is this: at around something like 10, at a particular temperature like this, you can come. All you need to do, just be tapping them. Don't be tapping the flowers. Just be tapping the flowers. Just be tapping the flowers like I'm doing. You can see what I'm doing. Just tap it. And as I'm tapping it, the pollen is dropping on the stigma of the female. So I do that early in the morning. Early in the morning, I'll just do that. I'll just do that early in the morning. I do that early in the morning. But remember, even if as well you did not do it, breeze can do that for you. Bees can do that for you. A lot of factors can do that for you. But just to be able to make sure you increase your yield, you can do that yourself. But you know it's a lot of work. But I know it's just a garden farm, so you can be able to do that for just a few plants you have in your place. But like I said, bees can as well do that for you. It is not a must you do it, but I'm just teaching you what you need to do. Now let's come over to pepper. Let's come over to pepper. Now, this is pepper, and pepper is also a self-pollinated plant. It's a self-pollinated plant. And if you look here, you're also going to see the flowers. You can see the flowers, you can see the pistil. So the same thing happens. You can tap it as well, and it will drop on it. So what happens is this: when this also pollinates, this will also dry up. And once it dry up, from there, pepper will now start coming out. As you can see what is going on here. So all these things, this one is self-pollinated, tomato is self-pollinated, but cucumber is not self-pollinated, it's actually cross-pollination. So it is important you understand these things so that it will help you to be able to understand what is going on right now. And if your plant did not pollinate, what it simply means is that it's going to abort. And there is a time between which this thing happens. Once this plant is ready to pollinate, you see it wide open, like what I just showed you. Look at what I just showed you. Look at how open it is. You can see how open this is. It is wide open. It needs to be pollinated. And it will continue like this for another 48 hours. That's 2 days. And if it doesn't get pollinated within these 2 days, it will abort. And once it aborts, this will fall off, and there will be no fruit that will be inside there to develop. So this is what we mean by pollination, and you need to start observing that in your plant. It is not every female flower that comes out will pollinate, but you can actually do the work to make sure they pollinate. Another thing that may happen that it pollinates and is not getting bigger is if it's not getting enough food. And at this time, you need a lot of potassium to make sure that they are feeding well and they are getting bigger. So please make sure. That's why if you look at your feeding program, you find out that the stage when I know these flowers should start coming out, we increase the rate at which you give them MOP. We increase the rate at which you give them MOP. We fatigate it, we side dress it, just to make sure that you are having enough potassium for these fruits to continue to develop and get bigger. So understand this and begin to do that work. Thank you so much. And I believe this will be very helpful for this particular stage where we are in your plants. Thank you.